Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, April 7th, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Engineering.
Okay. Robert Nielsen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Hannah Choi, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Abram Tejeda with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Eva Sung with LA Sanitation.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received a speaker card under General Public Comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council Commentary section, and we also received a speaker card on items number 1.
Well, all right. Let's go ahead and take general public comment since Dr. Williams is sitting right there on the front row. You're up, sir.
I can barely hear you even
Okay.
with my
Dr. Williams, you're up. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council Director and Land Use Committee member. Yesterday we had CFAC. It worked well, and things are changing. Public comments were changed, that is, they were added for individual agenda items, and that was a good thing. Everybody seemed to accommodate it, and we got done in 2 hours. So, there's another issue. We have a problem with the Department of Transportation and the coordination with the Bureau of Engineering Contract Administration regarding the Mission Soto Huntington Drive intersection problem. We need to know what's going on. We need to know who the contact is with LADOT because we get it from the Bureau of Engineering representative. Well, we don't do the striping. That's done by LADOT. Well, who? How do we influence it? Because stakeholders indicated that they have problems getting out of their streets because we have a couple of dead-end streets there and nobody clears the tailbacks from the lights, the existing lights, much less another set of lights that are coming in. So we'd like to find out who the contact is, who's in charge of the contract for striping and for pedestrian crossings, because one of the issues with the previous intersection was that there was no safe crossing anywhere because of the various ways that the traffic was moving. So we'd really like to have a contact for LADOT and or run it through Public Works in order to get a good system. And we hear that it may be around May the 15th, and we can have a block party there if you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. No other general public comment cards. We will close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, March 20th, 2017? Commissioner Davis, any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda item number 6, Council District 14, Bureaus of Engineering and Street Services. Street closure, 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street. Bear with me, this will take me a moment to read it into the record as I need to do. Recommending that the board, number 1, find that the Board of Public Works has reviewed and considered the information in the project draft environmental impact statement, environmental impact report, we'll call that the draft EIR, and the project final EIR. Secondly, find under the California Public Resources Code Section 21166 and the California Environmental Quality Act CEQA Guidelines Section 15162 on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record that since certification of the EIR, there have been no changes with respect to the circumstances under which the temporary street closure being undertaken would require a subsequent EIR or supplemental EIR. Third, adopt the January 20th, 2012 Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program. And appendix number 3, the Memorandum of Agreement with the California State Historic Preservation Officer, that's transmittal number 3, prepared by the Los Angeles County Metro as it pertains to construction impacts. Fourth, find under the CEQA guidelines section 15091 that changes or alterations have been required in or incorporated into the project which reduce or substantially lessen the significant environmental effects as identified in the EIR. Further, find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen or avoid any significant effect the project would have on the environment. Fifth, adopt the attached CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding conditions or considerations, that's transmittal number 4, as it pertains to the temporary street closure, and find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant and unavoidable impacts. Number 6, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway Street, and the board, located at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. Number 7, find that the board approved the request to extend the temporary existing street closure of 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street, starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow, April 8, 2017, and ending at 5 a.m. May 8, Monday, 2017, subject to the conditions identified within the report. And find that the board approved the request to extend the temporary existing intersection closure of Spring Street and 2nd Street for 3 59-hour weekends, starting Friday at 6 p.m. and ending Mondays at 5 a.m. for the following weekends, subject to the conditions identified within the report. That would be this weekend of April 7, 2017 to April 10, 2017. Then 2 weekends after that, obviously skipping the Easter weekend, April 21, 2017 to April 24, 2017, and May 5th, 2017 to May 8th, 2017. Are those dates, Mr. G, just confirm when I get to you that those dates are right. My brain calendar is off on counting. Although May 5th is a Friday. No, both of those are Fridays to Mondays. We're skipping 2 different weekends. We have a skip weekend in between them? Okay.
Correct. That's correct.
All right. Number 9, find that the board approved the peak hour exemption request, transmittal number 5, on 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street between 1st and 3rd Street to allow construction work in the morning peak hours 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and afternoon peak hours 3:30 to 7 p.m. starting April 8, 2017 and ending May 8, 2017, subject to the conditions identified within the report. Number 10, find that the board approved the peak hour exemption request, transmittal number 5, on 2nd Street between Spring Street and Main Street to allow construction work in the afternoon peak hours. Again, that's 3:30 to 7 p.m. every Friday, starting April 7, 2017 and ending May 5, 2017, subject to the conditions identified within the report. Number 11, authorize the city engineer and the director of the Bureau of Street Services to administratively approve 2 additional weekends of the closure ending at 5 a.m. May 22nd, 2017, that's recommendation number 7 above, and 2 additional 59 weekend closures ending at 5 a.m. May 22nd, 2017, recommendation number 8 above, if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the construction. And 12, authorize the city engineer to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of peak hour exemption ending May 22nd, 2017 on recommendation 9 above, and 2 additional Fridays ending May 19th, 2017 on recommendation number 10 above, if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the construction. I know that there is a much more succinct way to describe what we are doing, but we are required to put all of that into the record. Curtis G., go ahead, sir.
Good morning. I am Curtis G. from the Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. The Metro Regional Connector Project is a 1.9-mile underground light rail transit system through downtown Los Angeles that will connect the Gold Line from the Little Tokyo Station to the Blue Line and Expo Line at the 7th Street Metro Center. On December 2nd, 2017, the board adopted a joint Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Street Service board report permitting the temporary full closure of 2nd Street with peak hour exemption consisting of the temporary full street closure of 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street, which expired on March 25, 2017, and a temporary intersection closure with peak hour exemption of 2nd Street and Spring Street for various 59-hour weekends, which expired on March 20th, 2017. Included in the joint board report was a contingency authorizing the city engineer and the director of Bureau of Street Services to administratively approve 2 additional weeks for the full street closure, 2 additional 59-hour weekend closures, and the associated peak hour exemption, if for unforeseen conditions were encountered which would delay the completion of the construction. Peak hour exemption is to allow construction work to take place within the public streets in the morning peak hours, which is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and afternoon peak hours, which is 3:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. On March 3rd, 2017, Metro and their contractor, Regional Connector Constructors, RCC, requested to extend the existing temporary 2nd Street mid-block closure and existing 59-hour weekend intersection closure of 2nd Street and Spring Street until 5 o'clock a.m. May 8th to continue utility hanging and installation of structural decking needed to carry traffic while construction continues below the deck for the 2nd and Broadway station. According to Metro, unforeseen delays caused by weather and a combination of special events impacted the work schedule. Additional work inefficiencies were experienced due to the presence of underground storage tank and working around the large Los Angeles County storm drain. On March 16, 2017, the 2nd Street mid-block closure extension was administratively granted for 2 additional weeks until 6 o'clock p.m. Saturday, April 8, 2017, and the existing temporary 59-hour weekend 2nd and Spring intersection closure was administratively granted for 2 additional weekends until 5 o'clock a.m. Monday, April 3rd, 2017. The associated peak hour exemption was also granted for the closure extension. This closure request that I am here for today is for additional street closure extension with peak hour exemption of the temporary 2nd Street mid-block street closure consisting of the full temporary street closure of 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street starting at 6 p.m. Saturday, April 8, 2017, and ending 5 o'clock a.m. Monday, May 8, 2017, and also for 3 additional 2nd Street and Spring Street intersection closures with peak hour exemption consisting of the temporary full street closure of Spring Street from 1st Street to 3rd Street and 2nd Street from Broadway to Main Street for 3 59-hour weekends starting Friday at 6 p.m. and ending Monday at 5 a.m. for the 3 following weekends, April 7th to April 10th, 2017, April 21st to April 24th, 2017, and May 5th to May 8th, 2017. 2 weekends have been skipped due to Easter, as well as Fiesta Broadway, which occurs on April 28th to May 1st.
That was the weekend that had me a little confused, the Fiesta Broadway.
Yes.
Okay.
So, therefore, I ask the board to adopt this board report with the recommendations read at the introduction of the board item, with the conditions stated here. 1. Pursuant to the City of Los Angeles and Metro Master Cooperative Agreement, City Council Contract Number C104288, and Board Joint Report Number 1, Regional Connector Special Permitting Process adopted September 12, 2014. Associated permit fees shall be waived. 2. Permittee shall obtain all necessary approvals for construction work related to the mentioned street closure prior to implementing any and all street closure related activities. 3. Permittee shall obtain a Los Angeles Police Department exemption from work hour restriction permit and comply with all permit conditions. 4. Permittee shall comply with peak hour exemption conditions as outlined in the Los Angeles Municipal Code sections 62.61D and 80.06.1. The peak hour exemption can be revoked at any time by the city engineer. 5. Permittee shall comply with all construction-related mitigation measures required in the MMRPs. In conclusion, representatives from Metro, RCC, and the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Group are here today if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. We'll start with Commissioner Cento.
Thank you, President James. Curtis, thank you for the report for you and the entire team. Larry, it's a very extensive board report and appreciate the historical documents dating back some years. A couple of things. appreciate the staff analysis, the March 15th analysis that Larry Hsu had submitted. And I also note that City 14 has signed off on all the closures. So the assumption is that all the community outreach and all the communications and public outreach have been done. Are there any problem areas that you see that have not been addressed, or pretty much are we good to go on this?
I don't foresee any problem areas. This is basically an extension of existing closure.
Okay, and hopefully that there are no unforeseen conditions that would require additional weekends, right? We're going to hope that everything is...
I hope that is true, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you, Commissioner Cinto. Mr. Baker, could I ask you a couple of questions? Good morning.
Good morning, President James and the board. Gary Baker with the Regional Connector Project.
So just the question that Commissioner Cinto asked Mr. G a moment ago regarding the extension of these closures. We understand we had a discussion in a prior hearing that we had weather issues, a couple of other issues, some First Amendment marches, things like that. So that put us into this extension. Any anticipation of the need for any additional extensions going forward based on what you see right now?
No, I don't.
Okay.
We have every intent to be out of there May 8th and to reopen the street. Things are progressing well, and I don't expect to be back on Broadway to you. I'd take this opportunity just to address, if I have a second, to talk about the community outreach that's been done. The community is aware of the extension through the 8th. We have adopted for the past several weeks a free parking validation program for many of the businesses in the area there, which has been very helpful. This is 2 hours of free parking in the Joe's parking lot there for people with vouchers handed out in the various businesses. And also the project has contracted with the restaurant guide, Los Angeles Restaurant Guide, and they went around and interviewed many of the small businesses, and they have feature articles here in this magazine, which is handed out at all of the hotels. Gets a wide distribution, and the businesses in the area that were impacted by this closure, that have been, are very appreciative of this extra exposure, which they probably would not have done on their own. So we're trying to recognize the additional burden that we place on those businesses, and doing our best to deal with it, and then to get work done and get out of there as quickly as we can.
Great, thank you for that. Mr. Baker, the work once you've got the road open again, and you know that you got your traffic back to essentially essential normality. I recognize that there may be some other related interruptions in the area, but the work on the historic Broadway station is going to continue for a while, correct?
Yes, for another 3 years.
Okay.
Yes.
What can you just summarize? What will the surrounding area feel the impact, other than the fact that there won't be street closures?
Well, there's heavy construction in the area adjacent to 2nd Street there, and that's where our plaza will be. But the majority of work is done under the street deck that is being installed now. So for the next 3 years, there will be excavations being done beneath the deck. Will not be interrupting traffic. There will be trucks hauling material out, so there has been approved truck routes established for that. So there will be continued, I'd say, traffic impacts due to materials coming in and out, concrete deliveries and things of that nature. But I don't foresee any permanent street closures like we've had to establish the deck until such time as the work is completed in the station, and then we're restoring the street. So 3 years down the road, we're going to be going through something similar to this again, but it'll be much quicker as we're restoring things. We're not relocating things. So,
and you mentioned the excavation work, Gary. Yes. Some of the excavation work that's going to be done, I know going forward, I don't think the Bureau of Engineering has reviewed and approved those plans necessarily yet. When we get to that, and this is a topic that we discussed before, the sequential excavation method.
Yes.
So I just want to confirm that Metro will continue working cooperatively with the Bureau of Engineering to get to the point where they have the opportunity to approve those plans?
Absolutely. Yeah, we had anticipated, well, it's actually a revised design for the SEM Cavern to be submitted on March 24th. That has been delayed. They anticipate, I think I've relayed to the Bureau that we expect that by the end of May, we'll have it available for your review. And as we did with the first version of the design. So,
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Commissioner Rivas.
Hi. You may be aware of this, but I know on April 22nd, there's another march that's scheduled, a March for Science. I don't know if you've heard of it. And it's similar to the Women's March, where they're starting at Pershing Square and coming to Grand Park or City Hall. Just FYI, I know that's one of the weekends, and this area is close to where these protesters will be. I have no idea, how many people will turn up, but I've seen a lot of the ads for it.
yeah, we coordinate with special events. I trust that staff is aware of this, but I will ask as soon as I get back to the office.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, we've been able to accommodate other public events. I'm hopeful that this route for this one will not come through this work center.
I don't know much about the route, but I know it's similar to the Women's March in terms of the route.
Okay, thank you for...
And I have no idea how many people they anticipate. I mean, I've seen the organizers say there's going to be a lot, but...
Right, thank you for that.
But just something to look into.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis.
So the purpose of the work that we are considering today is for you to do decking at that area?
Yes, and yes.
And the overall goal of the work that you're doing in that area or at that site is to be the connector between both the blue line and the orange line? Is it the blue line and what else?
So the regional connector connects the gold line to the blue line.
Okay.
That is the north-south connection, and also the gold line to the expo line running east and west.
And then our overall goal for completion is, did you say 3 years? Or?
The station construction largely takes 3 years. There's a big underground component, and then there's the ancillary area, which is on the opposite side of the street from LA Times. That'll be where there's a plaza and where the patrons go down.
Engaged in one of those 3 years, is that correct, thus far?
I'm sorry?
How many of those 3 years have we completed thus far in terms of construction? Have we engaged in at least one fiscal year of construction towards the 3-year goal?
Every station has a little different schedule, but I'm projecting another 3 years to be completing all of the work there. But it will not be in any way as disruptive as the first year has been. If you recall, a lot of this work was precipitated by the need to relocate the DWP utilities, which was not envisaged originally by the project. So we've renewed the infrastructure between those two blocks, substantial investment in that area, and that's kind of what led to a longer duration of this closure.
Well, I just want to say in terms of observation that certainly we know that there are unforeseen challenges in any construction in general, but we look forward to your continued success on achieving some of our objectives along the way of these 3 years, because our overall goal, we all know, is to have a comprehensive rail system in Los Angeles, kind of like our brother and sister cities. Certainly New York has had it since before I was born, and you as well, and also Washington, D.C. and other cities. And so on the West Coast, this, I think, will really be a banner system once we complete it. And I understand there are going to be some hiccups along the way, but I'm so glad that you brought this here today, and we wish to move this thing forward so we can help to reach our goal.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cento.
Thank you, President James. I want to thank you again for your comment on your question regarding the sequential excavation method too. And Gary, thanks for the affirmation that Metro and BOE, primarily as we are stewards of the public right away, will get to review and do our due diligence on that part too. I know that's been an ongoing topic in our meetings with Deputy City Engineer Alfred Mata and Rick Clark. So we look forward to that, and we're going to do what we need to do to move it forward. we want to kind of, because it's so big and there's a lot of stuff underground, and once you go underground, it's like out of sight, out of mind. We want to make sure that everything's good down there and that the public right-of-way is safe.
Our tunnel machine is coming through that area today. And so the sequential excavation method is a step that follows that a couple years down the road, but we will work with your departments on that.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion on agenda item number 6, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Mr. Shu, Mr. G, Mr. Baker, thank you. Agenda item, let me find out where I am. Number 7, request to reinstate a street, Bureau of Engineering and Street Services. This is a withdrawn street in Council District 3, Don Juan Place. Recommending that the board reinstate the withdrawn street approximately 1,170 linear feet of Don Juan Place from Wells Drive to the southerly terminus into the city's street system for public use. Robert Nielsen.
Yes, I'm sitting in for Carlos, and basically this street was withdrawn from use in 1936 on a list of a big list of streets. In 1965, there was a construction plan that rehabilitated it to the city standards, and it was accepted by the board at that time, but it was never reinstated. So this is a motion to reinstate the 335 linear feet of Caneo Avenue from Morlos to the terminus.
Great. I know that we're doing a number of these in the council office. Councilman Blumenfield has and his office is doing great work in partnership with us on this. Any questions? We just got a letter from the council office on another street that has a little bit of a twist issue, but that one's not on the agenda today. But I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 7, seconded by Commissioners Jacinto and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 7.
Thank you.
We'll send number 7 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Since we just did a metro item, let's go ahead and do number 5, Council District 5, maintenance agreement. This is Bureau of Engineering, the Bureau of Street Services. Maintenance agreement between the City of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority for the Exposition Light Rail Transit Phase 2 project, recommending that the board first authorize the city engineer on behalf of the City of Los Angeles to execute the maintenance agreement, that's transmittal number 1, with LA County Metro Transportation Authority, Metro, for maintenance of improvements within the limits of the area known as the Plaza, located east of the intersection of Westwood Boulevard and Exposition Boulevard North Route, and to make any necessary modifications to effectuate the intent of said agreement. Second, request the city clerk to attest and certify 5 original copies of the agreement upon execution. The city clerk will retain 1 copy of the maintenance agreement and forward the remaining 4 originals to the Bureau of Engineering. Contact Jan Chen at 213-485-4654. There you are, your number's in a public record now. For pickup. Number 3, instruct the Bureau of Engineering Real Estate Division to record the executed document in the County Recorder's Office. Number 4, forward 2 copies of the executed maintenance agreement to Metro, and to Edward Cervantes, Director, Third Party Administration. Mr. Chen on number 5.
Good morning. My name is Jan Chen. I'm a civil engineer with the Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. I'm here today to request the board to authorize the city engineer to negotiate and execute a maintenance agreement for the Westwood Transit Plaza area. The plaza is a pedestrian sidewalk congregation area that was constructed as part of the Exposition Light Rail Transit Project Phase 2. It is located adjacent to the Expo Line station at the intersection of Westwood Boulevard and Exposition Boulevard, and it serves travelers who are awaiting and alighting the Expo Line at the station. The plaza was constructed in the city's right-of-way in order to obtain permission from the city. The Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transit Authority agreed to assume all maintenance responsibilities and indemnify the city against any liability for the plaza and the improvements contained therein. This maintenance agreement will formally document the terms of the agreement, and there's a draft of the agreement, which has been reviewed by the City Attorney's Office, as well as representatives from MTA, and that's included as transmittal number 1 of this board report. Once executed, the agreement will be certified by the City Clerk's Office and be recorded at the County Recorder's Office. That is all.
Any questions? I looked through, I didn't have any questions unless I missed something. Is there a motion on, by Commissioner Ascento on number 5? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 1. Council District 14, Bureau of Contract Administration, Bureau of Engineering, Project Labor Agreement, Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, El Sereno Avenue, and Edison. Miss Dr. Williams, you have a card on number 1. Your turn, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council. We're going to get sewers, our new sewers in El Sereno. However, we can't get access to where they're going to be, when they're going to be, and other pertinent information from the publicly accessible sources. I asked for a link to be provided last Wednesday. Nothing was provided to me till today. Then, so I am going to ask for a Public Records Act request for all 2016, 2017 documents for work order SZC 12922. All access to all documents. I'll go down to Broadway, go through all of them, because this is of concern for us, because we don't know what's coming. And after the experience with the Mission Soto Huntington intersections, right? We're quite concerned about who's going to get done and when. So I'm at the top of my sewer, so I don't really care. But getting out of my property and getting down to Huntington Drive may be a problem. And I don't know when it's going to occur. So it's a matter as to public access to these documents. Yes, I know Bavin. Now I have to give a tax number to Bavin in order to access it. For the public, this seems a little strange. So Bavin might have, hey, just provide a little link for public access through Bavin without having to give a tax number. Seems strange. So Public Records Act request for all 2016, 2017 documents regarding item number 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. So we do accept those PRAs in the oral record, so it will be received as of today. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 1, Teresa Jimenez. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, all. My name is Teresa Jimenez from the Bureau of Contract Administration. The Bureau recommends the addition of the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement to the Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, El Sereno Avenue and Edison. This project replaces and rehabilitates approximately 5.6 miles of sewer pipes. Approximately 78% of the project replaces a sewer that is 70 years old. The project is bounded by Pasadena 110 Freeway to the north, Stockbridge Avenue to the east, Alhambra Avenue to the south, and Mission Road to the west. The city engineer has estimated the total construction cost to be $8,682,400. The DPW PLA and policy will ensure that the maximum economic benefit is achieved for Los Angeles residents and communities. Previously completed projects of varying types and sizes covered by the past DWP PLA have created an average of 23 jobs per $1 million of project cost. So based on this average, this project could potentially generate approximately 184 jobs. Adding the DWP PLA to this project will ensure that construction works includes targets for hiring local residents, local apprentices, and transitional individuals, and that these efforts are monitored by the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Thank you, ma'am. You covered everything as far as I'm concerned. Nice job. Any questions from Ms. Mills? Commissioner Davis has made a motion on agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Cinto. Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2, Bureau of Contract Administration and Bureau of Engineering, Council District 14, Contract Award, Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, Figueroa Street and Yosemite Drive. Recommending that the board declare Ramona Incorporated the first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award them a contract for the project for $4,765,150. Authorize myself or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. Ms. Haskett on number 2.
Good morning. My name is Claudia Haskett. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. And the SSRP P19 will rehab or remove and replace over 5.7 reach miles of 6, 8, and 15-inch sewers. The project is bounded by the Ventura Freeway on the north, San Rafael Avenue on the east, York Boulevard on the south, and the Glendale Freeway on the west. The city engineer's estimate was $782. And the lowest responsible bidder is Ramona Inc. at $4,765,150. It's 13.25% higher than the city engineer's estimate. They've pledged 0% MBE, 0% WBE, 34.5% SBE, almost 15% EBE, 0% DVBE, and 0% OBE. And the reason for the 0% are there are very few, if any, MBE and WBE businesses that do sewer work. It's a very specialized work, and Ramona and all the other contractors do their best to outreach to the community to get those percentages up, but it's just very difficult. They are subject to the PLA, and they've done a lot of work for us in the past, and we recommend that you adopt the board report.
All right, any questions? I don't have any questions. They are an LBE. We do a lot of work with them, so we're very familiar with them. Of course, Commissioner Cinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 2. Any issue sending it forthwith?
Thank you.
We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Haskett. Agenda item number 3, another contract award. Council, this is BOE and BCA. Council District 15, pumping plant number 671, Terminal Way Pumping Plant Rehabilitation Project, recommending that the board declare Meta Mechanical Company, doing business as MMC, the second low bidder after the local business preferences applied, to be non-responsive, as was discussed in the report, and then declare JF Shea Construction, the first low bidder after the LBP is applied, that's the local business preference, to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Shea a contract for the project for $2,558,966, and authorize myself or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. Mr. Wen, go ahead, sir.
Good morning. My name is Jin Wen from Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. We're here request to award a contract for the pumping plant 671 Terminal Way pumping plant rehabilitation. This project is located in the Council District 15 within the Port of Los Angeles Airport Terminal area. This project consists of procurement, demolition, and the installation of pumps, gate valves, piping, pumping plant fixtures, generator,
emergency generator, power supplies, and other accessory items. The project will include repairs for the pumping plant as well, and the replacement of the air release valve for the forcement. The contract duration is 365 calendar days. 6 bids were received on January 4th, 2017. First lower bidder was Meta Mechanical Corp, MMC, with the bid amount of $2,552,455, which is 1.45% higher than the city engineer estimate. The second lower bidder was GFC Construction, with the bid amount of $2,558,966, which is 1.75 higher than the city engineer cost estimate. Based on the range of the bid received, we believe these bids are reasonable. MMC is not a certified local business enterprise. She is a certified local business enterprise. Therefore, she was granted a 8% reduction of their bid amount solely for the bid evaluation purpose. As a result, she became the first lower bidder. The mandatory subcontracting minimum requirement for this project is 25%. MMC pledged 19.49%, which did not meet the minimum requirement. And also MMC did not respond to the Bureau of Contract Administration's request for clarification of their business inclusion program outreach documentation. She has conducted a good faith outreach program. They pledge 0.414% WBE, 16.29% SBE, and 9.2% OBE. And based on the documents submitted, we determined that she has complied with the business inclusion program. She has pledged 26.75% of the MSM, which is higher than the minimum requirement. In review of the above funding, we recommend that the board declare MMC the second lower bidder after the local business preference percentage is applied to be non-responsive, and find she the first lower bidder after the local business preference percentage is applied to be the lowest responsive and a responsible bidder, and award she the contract for this project. With that, any questions?
Thank you, sir. Contract administration.
Good morning, everyone. John Patterson with the Bureau of Contract Administration. As Jean mentioned, MMC failed to meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum for this project. Staff contacted MMC, let them know that they had failed to meet the 25%. They requested explanation of how we had calculated that percentage. We explained the calculations to them. There was no further response. Staff continued evaluating MMC with respect to their business inclusion program outreach, as well as JF Shea with the local business. We noted that MMC had bid listed a supplier whose quote had not been provided. We request copies of all of the quotes from subcontractors, suppliers, and so on. They did not provide a quote for that particular supplier. They indicated that they had not received a quote, but they always get a good price from their supplier. So we notified them then that we would be recommending that they fail their business inclusion program for not negotiating in good faith with their responsive subcontractors, suppliers, and so forth. There was no response to that BIP failure letter. So we are recommending that MMC be declared non-responsive and award to JF Shea, the first low bidder after the LBP is applied.
Right, and when you apply not much of a delta between the two anyway, but when you apply the local business, that takes care of that. Any questions?
We have women-owned business, 0.14%. That's one of the subcontractors on their proposed diversity plan.
Okay. For GF Shea or for MMC?
For Shea, it looks like they have
one, yeah.
they have a woman business vendor as well as they do small business. Is that right?
Let's see. They did pledge. They had a woman-owned business who was also African American. But we cannot credit them towards both MBE and WBE, so we gave them credit towards being a WBE in this respect. Sure. But we will, of course, recognize overall that they're both a woman-owned business and a minority-owned business.
And that's my point, that not only did they also remain competitive in terms of inclusion for small business, but they expanded, in this case, towards including of gender, which is certainly one of the visions of this board. So out of all of what has occurred on your end of the table, on this end of the table, doesn't seem that bad as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything further? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3. Seconded by Commissioner Rivas. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 4, Council District 14, Bureau of Engineering and Contract Administration Task Order Package number D, 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue a construction task order to Skanska, Stacy, and Whitbeck, a joint venture from the construction manager general contractor contract, to complete the right-of-way phase utility relocation for $7,556,000 and request the board to request SSW to submit Skanska to submit the required bonds and insurance documents. Ms. Moy, you get to be the final agenda item this morning.
Wonderful. Well, I'm privileged to be here to request authority to award and issue construction task order package D to Skanska, Stacy, and Whitbeck. This is the 4th of 4 anticipated right-of-way packages for the 6th Street Viaduct. After the award of this package, we will have awarded all the right-of-way and kind of viaduct-related packages. The landscaping and park project will be the last anticipated award. So we're recommending we're requesting a 7.5% contingency along with this package. The contractor, SSW, met the DBE goal of 5.6%. This, as you will note, we have a summary table which calculates their total pledge overall for all of the packages awarded to date, including this one. And this brings SSW to a total 22.14 DBE pledge under the CMGC contract. The reason this one is lower than other package 5.6% is really because of the specialty scope of work, the horizontal directional drill we'll be constructing. This package is to relocate DWP overhead power lines running from Santa Fe Avenue on the west side of the project to Mission Street on the east side of the project. There's some overhead lines conflicting with both some of the foundation piles on the west side of the bridge as well as the helical ramp that will be installed on the east side of the bridge adjacent to Mission Road. This package is predominantly HBP funded, about 75%. There were about 25% of the improvements for this power line undergrounding that were determined to be ineligible by the federal government. So DWP, through the current MOU between BOE and DWP, has agreed to cover that shortfall, about 25% of the funding for the project. We encourage the task order to be awarded to Skanska, Stacy, and Whitbeck, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Julia. You answered my questions. I really just wanted kind of a background of what we were doing and just to ensure that this was something that was anticipated and not just something that came up in another category. So the 4th of 4.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
of the right-of-way funded, phase-funded packages.
Okay, progress.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Rivas, I'm sorry.
No, I was just there yesterday, so thank you for the amazing tour. And I remember just asking that question about those power lines, and so thank you for that tour. And I was able to bring a group of girls from Boyle Heights to learn about an engineering project in their community. So I really appreciate the time you took to explain it to me and to the young girls that attended the tour. So just thanks for all your work on this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a part of our project effort to outreach the community, especially the youth in the community, and are working to set up more regular tours and outreach in order to, share this great project with the people that will ultimately end up using it.
Excellent. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you. I just wanted to compliment Commissioner Rivas for really getting out there to get local community to see a major project in their lifetime right in their backyard, with the hopes of maybe one of those young people being a future engineer for the city of Los Angeles is great. So Commissioner Rivas, thanks for bringing the community out there to the bridge.
Just one more thing to add. Well, one of the young girls actually said, "Oh, I want to work here one day." So thank you for inspiring. They're like 10, 11-year-old girls that I invited from, that live 5 minutes away from the bridge. So thank you. And also thank you to Robert, was it Robert? Yeah. From SSW for joining us and explaining the construction management part of the bridge. So I learned a lot, and I look forward to seeing the next phases of the bridge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Goal achieved, because you never know how many you'll get at the end of the day that may not work here, but may work in the field as well. So thank you very much. Anything else? So is that a motion, Commissioner Rivas? All right. Seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Well, then, as we adjourn with the exception of a brief management meeting, I will take liberty to, I think, not be too premature in saying congratulations, Dr. Campos?
It's not premature, yes.
Okay,
Yesterday,
there we go.
successfully,
I don't want to jump
defended
any guns here.
my dissertation,
All
so
right.
yes, Dr. Campos, as of yesterday. Thank you.
That said, we are adjourned with the exception of the management meeting. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice weekend.